Hello everyone, welcome to Narayan IAS, and as a part of daily news analysis, we bring the 5 most important from The Hindu and Indian Express. And in continuation of the same series, today's 5 articles are: number 1, health insurance for all ages, where it talks about IRDAI regulation has removed the limit of 65 years in order to avail the health insurance benefit. Second, we will discuss the ILO report, which talks about how 75% of the workers globally are exposed to extreme heat conditions and how India's manual labor are at risk. Third, we will discuss the Supreme Court statement where it says that denying a woman a childcare leave is a denial of constitutional right to her. Fourthly, we will discuss about Schengen visa norms, where the easing of regulation will lead to multiple entry visa to Indians. And lastly, we will talk about Llama 3, a large language model released by Meta recently. And once we are done with this, we will discuss the prelims and mains question based on the same articles.
So let's begin with first topic, that is health insurance for all ages. Now, why are we talking about this? Because recently, IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, has come up with guidelines in which it has removed the age limit of 65 for purchasing health insurance. Earlier, especially for the first-time purchaser of health insurance, the people below the 65 years of age were able to do so. But now, after this regulation, the citizen above the age of 65 can also purchase the health insurance. This is to promote the insurance coverage more inclusive, especially given the present government mottos, which talks about making Ayushman Bharat health insurance scheme more inclusive by covering the people of age more than 70 years as well. Now, to understand this, why is this important? Let me discuss about the previous year UPSC question itself. Like in 2013, UPSC asked, critically examine the effects of globalization on the aged population in India. So UPSC is directly interested in that. And since it has already asked a general question, it can move into the direction of specific needs of aging population. And this is also more important because, these days India's demography is changing towards the aging population, and the number of aged population in India are going to increase. However, India is not infrastructurally or even in terms of policy prepared to deal with such changes. And thus, the policy these days are aligned in such a manner to create the preparedness in India for that particular scenario. Now, what has IRDAI? First, we will discuss that. But before we do, we need to understand what was the existing condition. Now, the existing condition before the guidelines was that previously IRDAI norms had set the purchasing age limit for health insurance at 65. That means up to the age of 65, you could purchase the health insurance and then you can avail the benefit. You may remember various health insurance policy of the government of India as well. Like even the Atal mission or policies are there, under which the age limit is generally 60. Beyond that, generally the elderlies are not able to purchase, or the citizens are not able to purchase a health insurance policy. Now, Insurance Regulatory Authority has decided to change such condition. It will change the limit. Also, another existing problem was that even if certain policy or certain companies were providing the health insurance scheme to the elderlies, there were many strict conditions for them in terms of like mandatory health checkup or exclusion for pre-existing conditions. Why mandatory health condition? Because generally then when the age takes upon us, when people grow toward towards the age of more than 60, they become more risky in terms of they suffer from various health conditions. And thus, insurance companies do not want to take this risk because they think whatever premium that is been taken from the citizen will be paid in terms of they will definitely be ill. So, considering that risk, they do not prefer taking elderlies into the insurance coverage claims. Or if they do, they will do the mandatory health checkup in order to realize if that person is suffering from diabetes or suffering from BP, then let's provide the expensive coverage to them. And thus, premium increased with the age. Premium increased with the existing medical condition. So, elderlies who already doesn't have enough sources to earn income, in order to get the health insurance, were paying much more than their capacity. So this was existing condition where there was age limit, there were multiple condition requirement like health checkup or exclusion of pre-existing condition, or having to pay higher premium or otherwise limited cover, because since the entire insurance cover was very expensive, they would generally exclude certain medical conditions out of it. Okay, it's okay, we will deal on its own. So because of this, the out of pocket expenditure was increasing, especially on part of elderlies. And also the fact, you should remember that the premium that was set up by the companies were generally arbitrary, and it will not take into consideration if your elderly population or a senior citizen is actually healthy. So you can see a hypocrisy in the entire scenario is that if an elderly or a senior citizen has some medical condition, then the premium that will be charged will definitely be high. But if he is a healthy person, then the premium will not be reduced because of that, or there will be no compensation for that person. Premium will increase with the age, but it will not take into consideration that an elderly to whom you are providing insurance is a healthy person. But if he's ill, the premium will definitely increase. So that was also another grievance that was visible among the senior citizens. Now, let's understand what is the present scenario, how IRDA is actually trying to change the existing condition. Number one, IRDA has actually asked the insurance company to design a tailor-made or tailored product for various demographies. Here, I'm not only talking about the senior citizen, but IRDA has also tried to bring focus on the students, children, as well as maternity issues that generally women suffer from. So it's not only senior citizen, it has asked insurance company to come up with the products for various sections of society, including children and pregnant women. Second is, the insurance are now required to cover individual of all type of pre-existing medical condition. Earlier, there were multiple exclusion, where whenever you were getting health insurance policy, there were certain restrictions limited with a star mark. In case of cancer, in case of this, in case of that, if you're not hospitalized for more than 24 hours, we will not cover you. This particular genetic disorder or illness, we will not cover you. So various medical conditions were excluded from it, especially who were suffering from lifelong diseases. But now, government has made sure that all existing medical condition will be covered. Based on health checkup, you cannot exclude a person out of the insurance coverage. Third is, insurance company are now encouraged to develop or enhance the existing product to provide comprehensive coverage for the entire family. Earlier, maybe the person who is employed in company, the employee, and then his or her spouse was included. And whenever it came to parent, though parents were included sometime, there were limited facilities that were given to the parent. Limited coverage was given to the parent. But now, the IRDAI has asked to come up with a package where the senior citizen or the elderly member of the family are also included, moving away from formerly restrictive access to the elderly citizens. Okay. Now, there are further specific guidelines that you should know, because a question like this can be asked in PT as well as mains as well. So, what are the guidelines over here is, the first few guidelines are for the insurers. Here, the insurance is being asked to not ask for medical examination at the renewable stage of the insurance if the sum has not changed. Now, let me explain that. That earlier, you had insurance coverage of 5 lakh rupees. You took a insurance from a company that gave you insurance coverage of 5 lakh rupees. Now, after an year, you have to renew it because it is an yearly renewable program. After a year, you will go for the renewal. Then, without changing in the sum amount, insurance coverage that has been given to you, that is not changed. A company cannot ask you to give a fresh medical certificate. Now, we will decide your sum that we can insure or your premium as well. That cannot happen. If the sum that is insured is the same, then a fresh medical examination will not be asked by the company. The first thing is this. Second, insurers should recognize the improvement in the risk profile to remove the loadings at the point of renewal. Now, generally, here also remember, what insurance company do is, if the risk profile, if the health risk with the individual has increased, they increase the premium. But they do not take into the account that what if the health risk of individual has improved? Why not reduce the premium in such a case? Now, government has made it mandatory. It says that if risk profile, health risk profile of individual has improved, then reduce down the premium level as well. They should not be paying higher premium in such a scenario. So this is the second point that is being covered in this. So the third is, insurers should also establish a separate channel to address the grievances of the senior citizen. Generally, senior citizens have to stand in long line. And or also there is an age of digitization, but it is very difficult for them to navigate through this because it's a complicated process. And for that, government has asked the insurance company to set a separate channel for the grievances of the senior citizen. So this was the guidelines that is given for the insurer. Now, government has also made changes in the premium policy as well. Like premium policy, like I said, arbitrary increase in premium was taking place, especially for the elderly section of society. Now, IRDAI has banned premium increase due to higher individual claim. Generally, in a particular disease section, there are more claims by the individual, by the various section of society. Even sometimes individual can make multiple claims because individual can fall in multiple times. So what insurance company do is, if somebody has claimed the policy 2 to 3 times, then they will increase the premium in the next year. Oh, you have the higher risk probability of getting ill. Government has put a ban onto this, that the premium increase is that they will not support premium increase if any individual has a higher possibility of claim or higher chances of claiming the insurance. So also, insurers are encouraged to offer discount to policy holder with a favorable claim record. So, somebody, you cannot increase the price, but if somebody does not take the premium from you, next time you should give the favorable benefit to them. Okay, you did not use the benefit last time. Let us give it 25% discount when you will take the insurance this year. So this the government has promoted. Now, next is IRDAI has also made policy on the insurer often refusing renewal. Yeah, that's the dirty politics that is in use by insurer, that often they do not renew the insurance policy of an individual if the individual has taken multiple claims, like 3 lakh rupees claim was there or 10 lakh rupees claim were there. An individual has taken multiple claims. Okay, once I was ill, then the person became ill 3 to 4 times in India. It has exhausted the entire money. So insurance, the insurer often thinks in a way that that particular individual is not benefiting us. They have taken the claim of 10 lakh rupees, then we have to give the entire money to them because they also want to keep some return. They worked on the mechanism that whatever premium we are paying, that hardly we will take only some amount from it. Reason is our chances of getting ill will be almost lower. So often they do not renew the insurance policy of an individual who is more likely to fall ill or is more likely to take the claim again, like multiple times in a year. Now, the IRDAI policy has actually banned this practice as well. It has said that an insurer cannot refuse to renew a health insurance policy based on previous claim, based on previous multiple claim. It's actually extension of what I just recently discussed before this particular point. Also, renewal can only be denied. The only reason for denial of renewal should be if there is a proven fraud, if there is a non-disclosure, or any such misinterpretation or misrepresentation by the insured. If insured person has done some insurance fraud, then only you can deny the renewal of insurance to that person. Otherwise, there is no reason. Third is about waiting period. Waiting period means generally insured person has to wait to get the money back from the insurance company. Like if I fall ill and I'm hospitalized, maybe my bill is 3-4 lakh. I'll submit the document to the insurance company and I will expect they will return the amount to me. And it sometimes takes 1 year, 2 years, and even more than that. Some companies do so. So now it has said the waiting period for disclosed pre-existing condition, not only the return amount, it also says waiting period. So first of all, it talked about reducing the waiting period where the insured person can take the money back from the insurer. Also, the waiting period for disclosed pre-existing condition should not exist 36 months with continuous coverage. If there is a continuous coverage, then the waiting period or the pre-existing coverage should not increase 36 months. Second, IRDAI encourages insurer to reduce this waiting period to 6 months. Right now, we are claiming that we are actually expecting that period should not exceed 36 months, and later on it should come down to the 6 month only. Okay. Now, what is the significance of entire regulation? Number one, it actually revolutionizes the entire insurance landscape by making it more inclusive, affordable to all the citizens of the country. Like, I'm talking about senior citizen, but like I said in the beginning, this particular policy is extending not only to senior citizen but also to mothers, also to students, or also to children as well. So it is actually making the quality healthcare infrastructure an inclusive approach. Second is specifically for the senior citizen. What benefit does it give to the senior citizen? The removal of age limit make it possible that people who have crossed the age of 65 can avail healthcare benefit in the later stage of their life. So it actually it ensures that they can have a better health condition even the later stage of life as well. Second is the most important aspect of this is going to be very important, like I discussed before, that India's demography is changing. Right now, elderlies or senior citizens constitute 8% of India's population. But this is going to be almost 11 to 12% by 2025. This was according to 2011 census. Okay, and this is going to be 20% by 2050. So by 2050, 1/5 of India's population will be elderly. So we need to make policy that are inclusive and that takes care of their need in mind. Okay. Also, keep in mind, despite they being 8% or going to be the 12% of India's population, the health insurance coverage for elderlies is only 2%. That means 98% of elderlies are out of the ambit of the health insurance coverage. So thus, this policy is actually the requirement of the time. Next, let's talk about this. Adding to significance is that it will not only benefit the senior citizen but the families as well, because often the responsibility to take care of the health of the elderly fall upon the adult of the house, and which often increases the burden on the adult as well, because healthcare become expensive, and then they, without any kind of health insurance, it become very difficult for an adult to take care of this. But in such a case, since elderly's health will be also covered on the health insurance, it will be there will be lesser burden on their shoulder as well. So every Indian can secure their loved one. That is what we can say. Next is for insurance company as well. It's not only that the other citizens are going to benefit. The insurance company are also going to benefit from this. How? Because, like I said, most of the elderly are out of the ambit of the health coverage. So this gives an opportunity for the insurance company to penetrate an underserved market, a market that was not taken care earlier. So they can actually make policy tools and policy product which can specifically deals with such section of the society, providing effective healthcare to such section of society. So this is an opportunity for the insurance companies as well. Now, if such as the case, if it is such a beautiful actually initiated, then what are the challenges that we are suffering right now? Why it is not being implemented, or what are the difficulties that government will face in implementing the scheme? Number one is insurance reluctance. Why do insurance company enter this particular segment? Because in order to secure your life, maybe overall you're paying a premium of 50,000 rupees, or overall they get insurance company get the premium of almost 10 lakh rupees from maybe 200 to 20 individual. Out of 20 individual, you are getting 10 lakh rupees, but out of them only one person will fall ill or two will fall ill, and hardly their expense will fall into the coverage of 2 lakh rupees. So 8 lakh is what? Their profit. From 20 people, they have taken 10 lakh rupees over the year, but only 2% fall in, or maybe the cost incurred in the entire process is 2 lakh rupees. So whatever money that did not actually incurred in the entire expense process is actually the benefit of the insurance company. So they work on that benefit. But what if out of 10 people, all 9 people or 10 people fall ill, and their expense is actually 10 lakh or maybe 11 lakh. Now in such a case, the insurance company do not have any kind of profit. The profit margin is really less, or it become negative. So generally, what insurance company do is they target the group that are less likely to fall ill, because their money will never go back to them because they will not take the claim, right? So what insurance company prefer the person who's less likely to fall ill, and that's why the elderly section of society is not their favorable domain. It's not their favorable person to provide the insurance coverage, and that's the reason they are very reluctant to provide the health insurance coverage to elderlies, because that will reduce their sustainability as well as apparently profitability. Second is, so that's why they're thinking about how to manage the cost associated with high risk demography. How will they recover the money that they have spent in actually taking care of those individuals? By paying this insured amount to them. Now, what are the challenges? The other challenges that we suffer is, even if insurance company out of a government regulation, out of force pushed on them from the government regulation, they provide the insurance policy to the elderlies below 65 years of age. What they will do is they will impose multiple restrictions on them and put multiple exclusion as well. Okay, elderly health insurance will be given, but we will not cover heart attack. But we will not cover or more hidden issues like maybe or we will not cover osteoporosis. We will not cover arthritis, which are general problems that elderlies are suffering from. Now, in such a cases, this insurance is not as useful to elderlies as we think. Now, so what to do? Though the IRDAI has a very noble initiative, and by expanding expanding ambit of the insurance to the elderlies as well, it has to keep in mind that there should be both the parties should come on a common ground in terms of, number one, our customers should have a more inclusive coverage across all demographic, but at same point of time, government should keep in mind that companies should also stay profitable, otherwise the benefit will not reach the desired population. So in which even government can provide some subsidy, government can provide other kind of financial help in order to make sure that elderlies are also covered comprehensively in the health insurance scheme. From now on, we will move to the next topic. Let's start with next topic. That is, over 70% workers globally are exposed to excessive heat. Okay, this is important because previously UPSC asked questions like that, because this report is released by ILO, and many a time UPSC asks which report or the heading. It will give the heading of the report and ask, okay, which organization gave it. Example is 2016 by Global Financial Stability Report is released by which organization? Is it OECD, World Economic Forum, World Bank, or World Trade Organization? Think about it and try to answer this. Well, let's move to our topic. What are we talking about? Recently, our topic is ILO report, that is International Labour Organization released a report heading Ensuring Safety and Health at Work in Changing Climate, that how worker safety and health is impacted due to climate change. And this report actually highlights various concerns. Number one is the global heat exposure. So it talked about that how 70% of the global workforce is vulnerable to heat waves. And how does it impact the vulnerable workforce? It talks about that the workers in the hotter region or hot region, especially those engaged in manual labor, are highly susceptible to health problems like kidney or heart issues, especially chronic kidney diseases, because heat waves impact your organism, especially kidney and heart the most. And then it actually gave a warning to India as well that heat waves are going to actually make a condition riskier in India, and Indian labours are going to be impacted. So government should actually take this advisory seriously and take certain action to promote the manual labour in India, especially the manual labour. Now, further, IL report also suggests that in a global occupational hazard, that as per report, nearly 2.4 billion workers are exposed to excessive heat waves, and millions of population are affected by the various occupational hazard that is exacerbated by the climate change. Like the report says, how climate change is going to impact the health and working condition of the workers. So almost 2.5 billion are going to be badly impacted by heat waves alone, and another so many millions of population are going to be impacted by other factors that are exacerbated by the climate change. And not only the health is going to be deteriorated, this morbidity will result in mortality as well, where the report suggests that almost 18 to 19,000 annual deaths are reported from non melanoma, skin cancer. Melanoma is basically found in our skin, which help us protect from the UV rays, which can cause cancer in us. And the people who don't have melanoma or less melanoma in their body are very vulnerable to skin cancer. So as a result of rising heat waves, tarnished our stratosphere, which protect against the UV rays, many people are vulnerable and often die as a result of non-melanoma skin cancer. Overall economic impact suggests that it poses a serious threat to the employment stability and economic productivity. It can lead to job losses, damaging in the business asset, interruption in business operation, decreased labor productivity, forced migration, as the report suggests. So, multiple ways by which, number one, income, number two, morbidity status, that is health status, number three, mortality, and number four, the business sustainability is going to be impacted, overall impact on the economic scenario of a country. And thus, the economy should take this report seriously. Okay, the report also gave certain advisory to the government to take certain precautionary measures, which says that Union Ministry of Labour and Employment, especially Union Ministry of India, has issued an advisory to all state and union territories to actually increase the safeguard from heat waves, considering the alert that was recently given by the IMD. Precautionary measures include ensuring availability of the drinking water, rescheduling of the working hours, and other suitable measures to protect the laborers. Okay, the report is given by ILO. So first you should know some tidbits regarding ILO. What is ILO? So ILO is a specialized agency of the UN. It was formed in 1919. That means when UN was not there, it's a League of Nations was there. So it is a legacy of the League of Nations. After which, when UN was formed, so it was made as a specialized agency of the UN. This organization is dedicated to dealing with the labor issues globally, and for that it is only tripartite agency which has a partnership of the government, employers and worker. They all come together to set labor standard, development policy and promoting decent work for all. Because remember, whenever labor issue come, there are three stakeholders to this. One is government. They take care of the policies are in favor of the in the favor of the labor in industry, and other one are industrialists or businessmen who actually employs the labor, and often their policy may be exploitative towards the labor. So the three parties came together, coming to a policy or decision which makes sure the labor get the adequate right without impacting the productivity of the businessman or industry at same time. And government actually provides a platform, or government is also there to implement those policies in manner. Now, also keep in mind, in order to ensure the labor rights or specifically the human rights are taken care of, ILO has come up with the 8 fundamental conventions. So you should remember them. 2 are dedicated to forced labor, like Forced Labor Convention number 29, Abolition of Forced Labor Convention 105. Here you should not consider that only, you should not actually confuse, there are only 8 conventions. No, there are more conventions. These are considered as fundamental convention. Third is Equal Remuneration Convention, which ensures that irrespective of race, caste, gender, everybody gets the equal wage. There is no discrimination based on that. So, and next convention is also based on it, that is Non-Discrimination Convention number 111. Last is the next one is Minimum Wage Convention, which makes sure that every labor is given a certain minimum wage for the work they have done. Next is Worst Form of Child Labor Convention, which it tries to eliminate child labor. So the entire spectrum of child labor cannot be eliminated, because even according to Indian laws, the child labor that is for the family work is generally considered as legal. So here specifically the worst form of child labor word is used. Next is Freedom of Association and Protection of Right to Organize Convention. So that means it gives the labor union right to organize themselves if they feel like their rights are being violated by the industrialist, and right to organize and collective bargaining convention. These are generally considered as a bit voluntary, but the above 8 are almost compulsory for all of the members. Okay, so what can we conclude in the entire thing is that ILO, after coming up with this report has made it clear that there is an urgent need to re-evaluate the existing legislation or create a new regulation and guidelines to address the evolving hazards that are posed by the climate change, because already workplace were very hazardous. given the safety measures that are not taken care of. But the climate change has added another dimension to it, which makes them more vulnerable to morbidity as well as mortality. So special attention should be given to the vulnerable section of society, especially the worker who may require extra protection against the adverse effect of the climate change on occupational health and safety. Now let's start with second article, that is denying women child care leave is a violation of constitution. Question arises, why are we talking about this? Because recently Supreme Court has addressed a significant issue concerning the child care leave for women. The women who are working but are mother and often have to take leave to take care of their child. So Supreme Court passed a judgment, especially when an assistant professor from a government college of Himachal Pradesh approached the court where the government has denied her leave for the care of a child who was of special need. Now, in such a case, when government denied her leave, she went to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has gave a judgment in which it said that that the child care leave is actually essentially part of fundamental right of a woman. Now, let's talk about what are the constitutional, on what basis Supreme Court says that. Supreme Court said that when government doesn't provide child care leave, it actually hinders women's participation in workforce. A woman participation in workforce only for the reason that she is a woman and she has to take care of her child. So it is actually violating Article 15 of the Constitution, which says that there should not be no discrimination on ground of religion, race, caste, sex or place of birth. So government says on the basis of sex that she is a woman and she has to take care of her child, this kind of discrimination is being taking place. Now here, why so? Because women are generally given the responsibility or generally have the responsibility to take care of a child. Because we can, no matter, we say it's a modern society and men should also have this responsibility. But right now in our present society, women generally have this responsibility. And just because she is a parent who gave birth to a child and later on has to take care of child, she cannot participate in workplace. It's actually discriminating against the woman. So Supreme Court is trying to correct that kind of injustice which often goes against one's gender. So court emphasized that state, especially state, because it was a government college, especially state, which is a model employer, which acts as a model employer. It is state that other private sector follows. And if state is doing so, of course, other private sector will also not give any kind of benefit to women. State as a model employer must address the specific concern of a working woman, ensuring that they are not forced to exit the workforce due to lack of supportive measures like childcare. And that is true more in case of India. In India, if you remember from 1990s, in 1990s, female labor force participation rate was almost 32%. Now it has reduced to almost, it was reduced to 23%. It has several reasons, but one of the biggest reason that woman is not able to participate in such a condition is because she has to quit the labor market in order to take care of child. That means the entire system or social structure acts against the woman working in any formal environment because it does not provide special condition needed for her to work. Every once in a while, women may have to exit the market to take care of a child, to take care of her reproductive needs, to not only produce but take care of them when they're growing as well. So this kind of discrimination, Supreme Court is trying to address in here. Okay, now what does Supreme Court said in the entire scenario? It highlights the essential nature of childcare leave for a woman, that it is not just a leisure or luxury. That such provision are critical to ensure the continued participation of women in the workforce. Because if the society is not going to be considerate regarding the working women who are also mother as well, the female labor force participation are going to reduce exponentially. It's going to come down. It has happened in the future as well. So a state should have to be more empathetic regarding scenario. The court was also conscious of the policy implication, but it is stressed that state policy must be in harmony with the constitutional provision which try to provide equality to all the section of society. It is not, see, Article 14-15, one thing is very clear, it's very clear, is that equality does not mean that everybody will be given equal platform, but everybody will be given equal opportunity to reach that platform, right? So equal opportunity means that women are suffering from certain disabilities, they are need to be taken care of. Also, one more thing is here, it's not only this entire provision of not providing the child care leave to women is actually discriminating against the women, but it actually impacts children and child care as well, along with women. Also, it goes against the Disabilities Act as well, Right of Person with Disabilities Act as well. So this provision, this kind of act against a disabled person too. Especially, this was a case of a woman who wanted leave to take care of the child who was of special need. So special consideration could have been given by the government, which was not given in this case. So it directed the Himachal government to reconsider the child care leave policy, particularly for mother of children with special needs, underlying the need for policy to be more inclusive as well as more supportive. There should not be uniform implication or implementation of policy. There can be some discretion based on the special need of a woman as well as child as well. Okay. So here Supreme Court, number 1, use the constitutional provision, that is Article 15. Also to reduce Right of Prevention with Disability, Rights of Person with Disabilities Act 2016 in order to make sure that the leave is given to the woman. Now, what does this act says? This act, first of all, define disabilities, which includes not only physical disability, that okay, the legs are not working or the hands are not working. It includes the sensory disabilities as well. Per se, the vision is not perfect, even if it is like 40% imperfect or 60% imperfect. It covers the progressive disabilities as well. It also includes the intellectual disability. The person is physically and in terms of sensory is absolutely fine, but mental capacity is not at par level. Third is also any such specific condition like cerebral palsy and acid attack. Acid attack victims, it's a very important thing as a part of this. And sometimes UPSC asks questions which you're not expecting. So maybe you were not expecting acid attack as a part of this act, but it is. Second, it makes sure that responsibility to give the rights to these people is taken away by this government and state government. So central and state government take the main responsibility of implementing this act and ensuring equal rights to person of disability. Now, when it comes to accessibility and inclusion, in order to make sure that all of them have equal right, it actually mandates the government to improve the accessibility in the public as well as private spaces, like providing inclined platforms instead of stairs, because it's difficult to come down the stairs if somebody is actually wheelchair bound. Or whenever we are writing signs in the public places, they can also be written in a braille form as well, so that the blind person can also see. So such initiative can make sure the public and private spaces are what they're disabled friendly. Also, it talks about the guardianship and advocacy, where the person with disability has its autonomy, but at same point of time, if he has or she has to share the decision-making power with someone, it is balanced in entire approach. Next is, it also provides a financial and legal support and help in education and employment as well. Like this act provide the reservation in jobs and top universities to the level of 3 to 4% to the person with disabilities. Also, this is actually mandate the free education to the person with disability up to certain age or up to certain class as well. Okay, now for the financial and legal support, it mandates the establishment of a fund and special code to support and protect the rights of person with disability. So this was Rights of Person with Disabilities Act. Now, coming back to the judgment, how does it help the children? Now, this actually is going to help three. Like I said, there are three dimensions to this entire article. Number 1, the woman will benefit. Number 2, the child will benefit because they will have a comprehensive care during the during formative ages of his or her life. And overall, the disabled will also benefit from this because they need special attention during that particular age. How does women benefit? Women benefit in terms of, number 1, income security, and number 2, job security, especially labor force participation rate. It is generally found that whenever child care is actually made available to a woman, the net wage of a working woman, instead of reducing, it actually increases. Whenever child care is given, provided by the state, the net income increases or stays same. The example here is Sweden and Denmark, where because of their extensive child care service system, the the child care also result in the higher rate of female labor force participation rate. So it benefit women in terms of two things. Number one, the wage either actually stay, it doesn't really come down, or it increases. Second is the participation rate of a woman in such countries is generally higher than the other countries. The other empirical data you can use to suggest the particular conclusion is the OECD data, which suggests that countries with better childcare provisions are more likely to have higher female employment rate. For instance, example is Iceland, which boasts of extensive childcare support. There the 80% of the women are in labor force. That means the labor force participation rate in Iceland is almost 80%, which is globally one of the highest. Okay, other countries, so you can take example to substantiate your conclusion. So one of the example that we have taken is Sweden, like countries from the Scandinavia, like we took Denmark, Sweden, and even Iceland, like other than Scandinavia, Iceland is also example of this. We have a regressive example too. The example in here is US. US, despite being a developed countries, often the child care is very expensive, and it's also not universally available. Even if it is not universally available. Expensive and not universally available, which result in a lower female participation rate in US as compared to Scandinavian countries. It's very apparent in this, especially given the phenomena, more single mother are found in US without proportionate child care facilities, which result in lower female rate participation system, separation of child from the mother, and many students actually found themselves, or many children found themselves in a system of foster care. Next is, the other example is developing countries. When developing countries also lack on the child care, the labor force participation rate also increases. Example being India here, where our labor force participation rate has reduced to the level of 23 to 26%. Now, so what are the policy recommendations that I think? There is a need of subsidizing child care, because first of all, we cannot take a step back from a child care. The example here is, even if you take the example of Korea, where the child care is inherently given to them, the female labor force participation rate is better over there. So what we can do is we can subsidize child care to reduce economic burdens on the family. Second, implement policies that support both full-time and part-time working mother, because for part-time working mother ensures that even with low childcare should be there, but the company is not given, they can compensate in terms of other factor by providing part-time employment or even work from home opportunities to the working woman, especially who are mother. Third is, which is also part of Maternity Benefit Act. Lastly, encouraging private sector involvement in providing childcare solution. Like I said, CSR is not just a charity, it is the responsibility. Private sector takes lot of benefit from the society by taking employment at a lower wage, especially from the women, and they've been given lots of subsidies from the government of India, so they should think of returning back to the society in one form or another. Also, women participation can bring a lot of profit to any employment in the long run. So with this, we are done with this article. Let's move on to next one. Moving on to next article, that is European Union eases norms to offer multiple visa entry to international. So let's move ahead and understand this. Why is this important? Because generally, sometimes the visa entry norms or the bilateral treaty we sign in order to improve the relationship or economic relationship in between the two countries is a subject matter that UPSC is concerned with. So you can see in 2017, there was a question asked, that is, Broad-Based Trade and Investment Agreement, BETA, is sometimes seen in news in context of negotiation held between India and which country? So, this can be European Union, Gulf Cooperation Council, OECD, or Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Think about it. But before that, let's move on to the news in affair right now. So, European Union has announced some major changes in visa norms recently, which are going to benefit the Indian national. So in this, we will understand how are they going to benefit the Indian national. So European Union has come up with a cascading system. Cascading system. Okay. It has done what? It has provided multiple entry Schengen visa with longer validity to the Indian national. Okay. So how does it operate? Which is actually, this is also considered as visa-free national status has been given to Indian. Okay. So how does it work? I explain that to you. It will work, number one, if there is an Indian citizen, maybe let's say Rakesh is there. Rakesh has been to Schengen country. I'll explain what is Schengen. Schengen 1, any of the Schengen country, at least 2 times in past 3 years. At least 2 times in past 3 years. That means in order to visit the Schengen country, he must have taken a Schengen visa as well. That means visa to any of the Schengen country. If he has taken visa at least twice in 3 years, or have visited at least 2 countries, or at least 2 times he has taken a visa in 3 years, then he is eligible for further 2-year visa. Okay, so if he has already traveled, then he will get 2-year visa, and based on this 2-year visa that he's already given, later on he will be given 5-year visa. Why so? Why not the visa in one time, like Canada or US does that? US gives a visa for 10 years. The Canada gives a visa for 10 years once you apply for that. That means, that doesn't mean that for 10 years you can live in US. No, it says that we will give you visa for 10 years. That means at once, or you can visit for 6 months in an year, like in a year, or 6 months at one go. But before the finishing of 6 months or 180 days, you'd have to go back to your country. Later on, you can again come back. For 10 years, it gives this kind of visa. For that 10 year, whenever you want to visit back US or Canada, you will not have to take the visa again because the visa is given to you. But you cannot stay for more than 180 days. That is a visa requirement of the US. If US find out that you are violating such conditions, it will not give you visa next time. Okay, so but on the other hand, the European Union countries a different approach. They don't give you 10-year visa. They are giving you, number one, you have to apply for the visa twice. You have to go. Based on that, they will be given 2-year visa again. And based on that, they will be 5-year visa again. Why so? Because European countries want such kind of traveler who are traveling their country again and again and promoting and contributing to such economy. They don't want a permanent resident. They want a tourist. They want someone, if someone who was interested in business in European Union want to have a multiple visit, they will get the benefit. So such kind of visa system is called what? Cascading visa system under the Schengen countries. So which is equivalent to visa-free national status for some time. Visa-free national status means if you are visiting those countries, you don't need visa. Like if India, maybe Indian nationalists want to go to Nepal, they don't need visa because Nepal is a visa-free country to us. You don't need visa, you can just visit it. So similar kind, it's not exactly the same, but something like that this particular regime is trying to establish. So the criteria is 2-year visa granted after utilizing 2 visas within 3 years. Within 3 years, you should have utilized 2 visas. And then followed by potential 5-year visa if passport validity allows. That means you are eligible for another 5 years, but your validity expires before that because our passport has a validity of some years, 10 years per se or 7 years per se. If your passport validity expires before that, then again you'd have to restart the process. So what it does, it enhances the travel right during visa validity period equivalent to visa-free national status. That means during that period, you can easily travel across the multiple Schengen countries. How will it benefit Indian travelers? Now, this will reduce the delays that Indian has to follow if they're trying to visit any European country for a holiday purpose, for tourism purpose. So this will promote the tourism of European Union. This will promote the. This will actually help the tourists from India to easily approach the European countries. It will address a prolonged visa appointment, especially not to get the visa. You have to start the process 3 or 4 months prior. Especially planning a tourism in such a way is a very complex process. You generally give up on that. Also, the cascading visa regime allows for long-term monthly entry visa for frequent traveler. So, long-term means only up to 180 days. Once at a time, you can stay for 60 days or 180 days, not more than that. Okay, so it allows the multiple entry visa for the frequent traveler. How will it help India-European Union relationship? This will improve, first of all, tourism of European countries, people-to-people connect between European and Indian nations, promotion of culture between 2 countries. It aligns also with European Union common agenda on migration and policy, which promotes the inclusive approach towards migration, cooperation on migration policy between European Union and India. Because European Union itself talks about that between its all nations, there should be easy flow of people across different countries. Per se, there are 4 countries. They should be easily able to move within the particular European Union area. There should not be restriction on it. And visa-free national status is generally considered as as an antidote to such restriction. Now, this facilitates smoother travel and foster closer ties between European Union and India, because we do always look for that with any nation, that we have a visa-free travel. Such condition promotes the better business establishment and better business cooperation between the two countries. Okay. Now, you need to understand, like I said, I was using the word Schengen area, Schengen area again and again, and European Union again and again. So, what are Schengen and European Union? Schengen area is basically an area, or actually coming up of 29 countries. 29 European countries come together and officially abolish their border controls or restrictions. That means, example, this is a Schengen area. This constitute 29 countries. Here I am taking only 4 countries: A, B, C, D. Now, under the Schengen Treaty that is signed by 29 countries, here any national, maybe that Rakesh, if Rakesh is in A, he can easily move to B, he can easily move to C, and easily move to D and go back to C for that period of time for which he is being given visa to, even if one nation. So generally, for the entire regime, one visa is given, that is Schengen visa. Because if a person wants visit over there, he have the access to all the Schengen country. So Schengen visa is given to an outsider or to a person who is citizen of this particular Schengen area country. He can easily move across the border. So this particular treaty that established such kind of area, this treaty is called as Schengen Treaty, and the area is called Schengen area, where there is hardly any visa requirement and border control. You can easily move from one country to another. So, and what is the Schengen area composed of? It composed of 25 European Union countries, and there are 4 countries that are outside the ambit of European Union. That means they are not part of the European Union, but they're part of Schengen Treaty. That includes exception, you must remember, that is Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. Okay, you must remember that 25 European Union countries. That means all European Union countries are not part of Schengen area. So there are some European Union country who decided not to be part of the Schengen Treaty. Okay. Now, European Union countries. European Union is consisting of 27 countries. Okay, this is Schengen and this is European Union. That means if this is Schengen area and this is European Union, there are certain countries which are part of the Schengen area but not part of Europe. There are certain not part of European Union. There are some countries which are part of European Union but are not part of Schengen area. So such kind of overlapping exists. European Union consists of 29 countries. It is a political and economic union of 27 member states that are located in Europe. What do I mean by political? There are certain political cooperation, common policies as well for the countries, like data protection law is there, and recently regulation of AI law came, and that applies to all the 27 European Union countries. Common economy in terms of some have common currency as well, common visa regime, common tax policy that apply to an outsider or within the country. So that's a political and economic union of 27 countries. The member states are here. Freeze the video and then look at it. UK was also part of the European Union till 2020, and in 2020 under the Brexit, it actually left the European Union like from 2020 onwards. So with this, let's move on to the next article. Moving to next article is Llama 3, Meta's new most capable LLM. Okay, why is this important? Because UPSC is very much interested in new technological development. You must have noticed this pattern. In fact, you remember exam that was taken by UPSC before, almost a year ago. It talked about mRNA vaccine because it was in news. It talked about LCD and then other kind of technologies as well, which you may not have been expecting, but cell phones are using these days. Even certain kind of fungi as well, which was an explained page of Indian Express. And that's why try not to ignore such kind of question, because UPSC is interested in such kind of technology. And right now, especially artificial intelligence, given its huge impact on the human society. So today we will discuss Llama 3, which is also an example of artificial intelligence. So what that is, we'll understand, but look at this question. With the present state of development, artificial intelligence can effectively do the following: bring down electricity consumption in industrial unit, create meaningful short stories and songs, disease diagnosis, text-to-speech conversion, wireless transmission of electrical energy. Okay, so you have a lot to just Take a pause, think about it, try to give it an answer. This was asked in 2020 by the UPSC. Now, why are we talking about LLM? Because Meta recently introduced its latest LLM, that is large language model Llama 3, which it claims to be the most capable openly available LLM to date. I'm not saying most capable LLM. Most capable LLM are more openly available. That means almost free of cost, or like it's available to without having to pay much charge. It's available to you. So that LLM, it's talking about. So Meta, remember, Meta is basically the parent organization for the Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. And they're always trying to promote the customer interface where you can stay addicted to Instagram, and thus they're working on the technology as well. And Llama is an example of it. So what is Llama? Llama, or large language model, Meta AI, is a family of LLM developed by AI in February 2023. The first version of the model was released in 4 sizes. So this is the next version, which is Llama 3. So there was Llama 1, Llama 2, Llama 3, and like any artificial intelligence or a supercomputer, they have certain capacity, and there is a measuring unit for capacity as well. Here, the measuring unit of capacity is basically billion parameters. The word I'm using is billion parameters. BP is measuring unit. So, and these parameters refers to element or values within which the model's neural network that are learned or adjusted during the training process. So these are basically values of the neural network under which it is trained, because LLM, like I'll tell you what it is. It is trained under a neural network. So how many units were there under which it was trained? That is basically billion parameters, like parameters basically. So this is generally in numbers of billion. Okay. So next is large number of parameters imply that AI model is more complex and more powerful. So always 13 billion parameters is going to be lesser than the 14 billion parameters, 40, and it's going to be lesser than the 100 billion parameter. That means under that number of model units of the neural network it was trained. That number of unit of the neural network it was trained and adjusted for. So of course it has better capability. Now, the first version was released in 4 sizes, that is 7B, 13B, 33B, and 65 billion parameters. So there are 4 capabilities were there. Next one has different, and this one, the 13 model of Llama, 13B model of Llama. Okay, remember here the 13B itself outperformed the OpenAI's GPT-3, ChatGPT-3, not ChatGPT-4. GPT-4 is more capable than GPT-3. It has more billion parameters as its capacity, but GPT-3, which is open source, that means it is available to all of us. The 13B is considered as more powerful than ChatGPT, which has 135 billion parameters. Okay. Okay, in the context of large language models, we have understood this. You understand billion parameters, a unit of measurement of the strength of the language models. Okay. So before we come onto the key features, first of all, we should understand what a large language model that I'm talking about. Large language model is nothing. It is a type of artificial intelligence. It is what? It is a type of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is what? It is a simulation of human intelligence, where a machine can simulate the human intelligence. And what kind of intelligence does human possess? We can analyze things. We can find pattern in that. And we can analyze huge amount of data. We can come up to pattern and we learn and evolve from that. So that differentiates us as that we have experience. And what is experience? Experience is information or data. Information or data. And we constantly process the data at a very faster pace, and thus we come up at pattern, classification. And often we found solution to our problem. We come to the quicker solution to our problem, and that's what makes us more innovative. And thus, we evolve much better or at much faster pace than other organisms. And that's what AI also does. Like AI is also capable of doing, specifically the machine learning part of AI. AI is big. It has smaller part, that is machine learning, ML. ML is a part of machine learning which is capable of analyzing huge amount of data and thus learn from the existing data. And for that it is fed a huge amount of data. A large set of data is being fed to this. So LLM is nothing. LLM is a kind of AI, specifically the machine learning part of AI, which actually can learn from the existing data. This particular AI, that is LLM, can actually comprehend and generate the human language text. Recently, abhi kya hota hai? What do you do these days? You actually, whenever a software engineer has to create something or teach a computer something, it has to talk in its own binary language. They write a code and that's how computer understand. But now, human was on the actually communicating age. They were teaching the AI. But now AI can actually comprehend the human language. You don't have to necessarily feed it into the computer language. They can comprehend the human language and they can generate back a human text. That means a human language text. They can reply you back in English, Hindi or any other language that you understand. They can comprehend the language and then they can reply back as well. So not necessarily in between a machine and a binary language is needed, or a Java or any other language is needed, because AI is also capable of understanding your language. Okay. Now for that, a LLM is trained on a huge set of data because it is a machine learning. ML is actually trained on huge set of data, and thus a large language model, the large come from the huge set of data. So large means huge set of data on which it is trained on. It is a language model. That means it is a part of artificial intelligence, specifically machine learning, which help comprehend and generate human language text. So I hope you get it. What it is? It is AI, specifically the machine learning part of AI, which is capable of learning on its own, and this AI is dedicated to comprehending and generating human language text. Okay, now so let's understand how LLM work in entirety. Like I told you, LLM is not just AI, it is specific part of AI, that is machine learning, which is subset of AI, under which you feed the program a huge set of data, feeding a program, any program a huge set of data, and to train the program to identify feature of the data without human intervention. So you will feed the data, human intervention is not needed. It will identify the pattern, same thing like human does. It will and then come to the solution of an existing problem. Okay, now various kind of LLM use different kind of technology. Here, the technology that is used by this LLM is particularly deep learning. Deep learning is again a subset of machine learning. Now, under this, in order to learn, in this, the computer process data in a way that mimics the human brain. How does? Like in human brain, there are multiple neural cells, right? These neural cells transmit the data at various level to each other. It's a complex network, and there is a complex continuous transmission of data. That is because of this, the processing of data in our mind is very fast. So artificial neural network is created for the artificial intelligence, by which it also process and transmit the data like a human neural network. Artificial neural network is there. So deep learning is nothing. It is a method of AI that teaches computer to process data in a way that mimics the human brain. Okay, it mimics the human brain in such a way. So this enables a type of deep learning. LLM are built on neural network. So you just move on to that. AI, specific case of AI, that is machine learning. Under machine learning, specific case, that is deep learning, which is based on neural network. So an network of artificial neural network is there that helps it mimic the human intelligence. Okay? So just like a human brain, which is constructed of neurons that connect and send signals to each other, an artificial neural network, that is neural network, is a constructed of network node that connects with each other. So there are multiple nodes that connect with each other, and each node is capable of transmitting and processing the data. So that helps in processing of data at a quite faster speed. Remember, before this data was processed in a sequence manner. First A unit will do, then B unit will do, then C will do. But in case of this, A, B, C, D, all will process data simultaneously. So if each was taking 10 seconds, earlier it was almost 100 seconds. But now all the work will be done in 10 seconds only. That's why there is a faster processing and faster learning for the artificial intelligence. Okay, now in case of LLM, a specific kind of neural network called LLM, that is transformer models, are used. In transformer model, they can learn context, specifically important for human language, which is highly context dependent. Human language is very context dependent. Like per se, sona. Sona means gold in Hindi. Sona means sleep as well, and sona means gold as well. That means if AI try to interpret as a human language only in terms of word, it will get most of the things wrong. Maybe because it can interpret same text in a different manner. So that's why in transformer model, the AI learn the language or learn context first. It is very important for the AI. So that's why it uses what? It uses transformer model. Transformer model use a mathematical technique called self-attention to detect the subtle ways that element and sequence relate to each other. That means it actually follows the sequence. So not just sona, it will highlight. If it will highlight okay, like somebody can say sona is expensive. So it has followed the sequence, and then it will say, okay, they're talking about the material, not the sleeping thing. Okay. You can here see there are multiple famous large language models that are available that are actually in the market right now. Number one is a GPT, ChatGPT, as you know itself. It is an OpenAI. It is actually developed by the OpenAI. The developer is an OpenAI. Now the apps that are using it is Microsoft, Duolingo, Stripe, Zapier, Dropbox, and ChatGPT are using it. It has number of parameters like 170 for the parameters is the measure of judgment of somebody's strength. Its parameter is 175 billion plus. Next is Gemini, that is developed by Google, and the Bard is actually using this. The parameters are 1.8 to 3.25 billion. Next is Palm 2. It's also developed by Google. It is used by the Google Bard, Docs, Gmail, and other Google apps. It has 340 billion number of parameters. Llama 3 is developed by Meta. It's developed by Meta, and it is used by Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messengers, and other apps that are developed by the Meta. And it has 1713 to 65 billion parameters. It is open source. Then there are other examples as well, which are not the famous one. But pause the video and try to go through them. Okay. Last that is remaining in the video is what are the key feature? Number one, it is an advanced model that is a significant leap in the AI performance and capability. It is very sophisticated version of the Llama series. It is built on Llama 2 architecture. It is available in two configuration, that is 8 and 70 billion parameters. It is designed to enhance AI chatbot performance. That means you can easily talk to a chatbot now because it can understand your context and your language too. It is ideal for engaging with user-friendly, effectively, can handle up to 8,000 token in context, allow for more extensive interaction and better handling of complex, and available in English on platform like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, and the web. And primarily, it is actually available in US. So with this, we are done with the AI and large language model. If you have any doubt, you can definitely put it out in the comment section. So now let's practice prelims and mains question based on the articles that we have discussed. The first question is the report title Ensuring Safety and Health at Work in Changing Climate, which highlighted the dangers of rising temperature for global worker, was released by which of the following international organization? Was it WHO, number 2 IMF, number 3 ILO, and number 4 UNEP? Today only we discussed that report in which we talked about how the workers and workplace scenarios changing as an impact of climate change, and how report was released by the UNEP. ILO. So don't confuse it. So the answer to this is going to be the C, ILO. Next, which of the following countries are part of the Schengen area? We discussed Schengen area today, right? And we talked about how some European Union and non-European countries are part of this. So the here example are Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, Switzerland, Bulgaria. If you had gone through the list, I told you to pause, you will realize all the countries are part of this. So the answer to this question is all of the above. Next is consider the following statement regarding the Rights of Person with Disabilities Act 2016. So now the statement 1 says the act defines stability to include both sensory and intellectual disability. That is true. I said physical, sensory, intellectual, and other disabilities as well. So both are part of this. So statement 1 is correct. Number 2, it is solely the responsibility of the central government to ensure the equal rights and non-discrimination for person with disability. First of all, solely is a very extreme word, so be careful about that. Second, it talks about responsibility of the central government only. And there I told you, both state and central government are responsible for this. So statement 2 is of course wrong. We can just cut out wherever statement 2 is there. Now we are left with, we have to examine the 3.2. The provision for free education are applicable to children with disability from the age of 6 to 18. Like I said, the act provided for free education to person with disability. The only difference is, unlike the regular children, those who are not suffering from the disabilities, in this case, the free education is given to them till they reach the age of 18 years. So the statement is right. And the answer to this question is A, that is 1 and 3. Moving to next question, that is large language model. With the present capabilities, LLM can effectively perform which of the following functions? Language translation, it was part of the sentiment analysis. Like I said, it can read the context. Solving mathematical equation, computer learned it long time ago. So AI is definitely can learn this. Creating chatbot conversations, of course, text is like easily possible for them. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are already part of this. Next is predicting stock market trends. So you may exclude that, but actually LLM can also help you in analyzing the stock market trends by analyzing the huge amount of data and seeing the pattern and giving the predictions. Next is, so the answer is of course D to that. Last question, that is Convention 29 and Convention 105 of International Labour Organization are primarily concerned with occupational safety and health standard, promoting social security and minimum wages, elimination of forced labour, and ensuring freedom of association for the workers. Here keep in mind, these are two important conventions that were dedicated to forced labour. So sometimes they are not going to proper heading. The numbers are also very important to you. So keep in mind, the answer to this question is going to be C, that is elimination of forced labour. Now, once we are done with PT, let's move on to the mains practice question. The question is, with India's aging population on the rise, is India prepared to provide quality healthcare facility to its elderly population? Discuss in light of the IRDAI's new policy and guidelines on health insurance policy in India. So, this is the actually means article that we discuss, and based on that we will answer this. Like I said, UPSC is going to be more and more concerned about the elderly, because it was a long time ago to ask the question. But as a matter of social policy and issue, this is becoming important to us because our demography is changing in or towards the aging population. So when you will answer that question, first your introduction should include talking about how elderly population is going to overall rise in Indian society from 18% at present to nearly 11 to 12% in around 2025 to nearly 20% in 2050. So you will not forget those days, and you can just put, after making the chart or a diagram in here, you can write the data of UNFPA. Now, that's how you make your diagram more interactive. You make your answer sheet more interactive. So you can just write one statement, then give a diagram, and then talk about how this is a rising concern for India and India should provide healthcare facilities. Then we will talk about how India is prepared. Then you will talk about India is not prepared on multiple fronts, like geriatric health facilities is not part of India's health concern. Primary healthcare, secondary or tertiary, we are not very prepared. Especially in primary and secondary healthcare, the geriatric health facilities is not given much concern. Institutions are breaking, but lesser institutions are available to take care of them. The old age homes are not properly equipped to deal with their concerns. They don't have even accessibility and ease by which they can do. They are not even aware to get the insurance facilities that are already given by the government of India. So we are lacking on multiple platforms. And addition to that, you will conclude with the health insurance that out of all the elderlies that we have, only 2% of the senior citizen population have access to health insurance. So which is a very grim picture for India. And thus it is important to do something on it. And after you're done with introduction, in body you have introduced, the first point was the healthcare facilities. right now. The last point is it. The second part of the body, you will talk about what IRDAI is trying to do in order to improve that condition. So then you will talk about the guidelines, that it has removed the age restriction of 65. It has actually made the change in the waiting period. It has made changes in the premium that is to be paid. It has made changes in multiple parameters. So you will include those, and then you will conclude how taking care of elderlies is a very important thing to do right now. You cannot ignore that. So it's important that it's actually guidelines, current policies are to be taken in a right direction. And this policy, that is IRDA policy, is thus a step in a right direction. So on an optimistic note, you can conclude this answer. Okay. So if you have any doubt, write any comment in the comment section. We'll definitely try to answer that. For watching this video, thank you so much.